evening. What's going on tonight, everybody? This is the Punditviews. It's a little bit of a different Punditviews tonight. We were supposed to have George Eichorn, he's one of my favorite guests, and you're going to know more about him, but it's a little bit under the weather. No problem, George. We look forward to have you soon, probably even next week. But anyway, tonight I thought of something a little different. I've got my buddy Denzel tonight. Get on here, Denzel. What we have is that this is kind of a Kevin Nash idea. They get from his shows, Click Don't Lie. Is what they do is they'll have their little interviews, they'll have their usual podcast, but then they will go podcast. They will go into a thing where it's facts-based, where we can laugh at about a certain things, we can talk about ideas. And there's some facts in the sports world.
Huh.
You know?
Okay.
Oh, it's like we can get to these facts, and it's like just basic different stuff. You know what I'm saying? I read about these, and this is kind of funny. We have to start thinking of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So most definitely an interesting twist to the show. Shout out George, get well soon, man. But most definitely, dude. Like, hey, I'm all for it, man.
No, yeah. Let's get itself started. Here's the thing. Listen to this. Remember now, folks, this is just a little thing between our show tonight and everything. I wouldn't go to a bar and try to tell these facts to a woman or, something. I don't think you're going to have much of a date life. It's like, this isn't a swipe left, swipe right thing. She's going to swipe left on you and get out. Right. You don't repeat these to her.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. So anyway, listen to this. Mm-hmm. Baseball umpires are required to wear black underwear.
Huh. That's weird.
If you're like Joe West, Cowboy Joe West, and you have a tear, you have black underwear. It's probably brown stains.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know. I think because umpires have black bottoms, like to begin with.
Yeah.
They have black trousers, so yeah, like in which I don't see a situation where they would tear their pants unless they're trying to squeeze in like a pair, and then they just kind of bend over trying to pick up a ball.
Could you imagine Eric Gregg trying to get into white underpants?
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, and how do you figure out in the first place? But these are things that like a Rob Manfred would have to think about. Mm. It's like he is the commissioner. It's like, what are you thinking about? How does the underpants of an umpire come into play at one of those meetings?
Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to look at. Did they give an explanation as to why?
Yeah, the tear. If someone has a tear, and there's probably brown bottoms, if you will, if they have white ones.
Probably so.
Oh yeah, no.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Way, though. But no. By the way, here's another fact that was kind of crazy. Yeah, part 2. Yes. No, here's another thing. Until 1937, the NBA, after every basket, had to do a jump ball after every basket.
Oh wow! Huh?
Can you imagine how boring that game would be?
Yeah, especially if you're, like, I don't know, 6'8", 6'9", and you're facing off against Wilt like every tip off. It's like, just give him the damn ball. I'm not gonna do this all night. Okay, just give him the ball. Hopefully they shoot and he misses.
Could you imagine? No, you're hoping they miss and they won't miss. So you have to wonder. Gotta remember, it says 37. He came in 1950. Like he was 50 and 51 in Kansas. So you have to wonder if there were guys like him. You have to wonder, like a George Mikan, like in high school, college. You have to wonder if he's the reason.
True.
It's like you hit. It's kind of like make it, take it.
Yeah, that's that's what I was thinking. Like, you know what? That's kind of street ballish, but we never did jump balls in street ball.
Exactly.
It's weird. Huh.
But listen to this. I'm going to give you this trivia. What year was the first baseball team to have black or Latino descent on every team, all of the starting lineup? What year and what team?
Oh man, the Pittsburgh Pirates, maybe 1972.
Wow, 71.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Every single one. And the
I was off by a year.
only reason, the only reason it wouldn't be 72 is because Clemente died in 72.
Clemente, yep.
Yep. But I'm like, other than that, I would have thought you would have been said 90s or something. I didn't know. Yeah, you were off by a year.
I was actually the first person that came to mind was Roberto Clemente, who's regarded like one of the greatest. Some probably have him as the greatest Latino baseball player of all time, until David Ortiz or whoever you want to, and not just because of the way he was on the field, but the way he was off the field as well. That's why he's so revered. That's why they have an award named after him. So when you said all Latino and all black, I was like, oh wow, okay. Roberto was Puerto Rican, so I'm sure I got a feeling it's the Pirates, and it's in like the early 70s.
You have to wonder what the fans thought of that time. This is this is early 70s from back in the 60s. You have to wonder. It's like in one case, this is a racist time.
Yeah.
In the other case, do you cheer when they hit a homer and then say all kinds of slurs? Say all kinds of slurs when they strike out? I mean, you have to wonder if it was a bittersweet for fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much fake, because let's face it, they never sit next to him on a subway. They never sit next to him in a diner or anything like that. I mean, shoot, even Jesse Owens, he won medals for the United States, and he wasn't invited to the White House formally until 20 years later.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about this. You think of you're absolutely right. And it's like you have to think of these situations. It usually takes a powerful white person to do something about it. Like there was, it's like, for instance, Frank Sinatra. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr. had to, until Frank knew about it. Sammy Davis Jr. had to go like eat in the back kitchen away from everybody, get all that kind of stuff. And Frank said, "I'm not here until he eats." And then they had to stop everything. Yeah. Betty White brought a black dancer on. I'm trying to think. The advertisers were like, "No, you can't have him on. You can't have this." And she's like, "Oh, F you."
Her own, and they canceled her too. Uh-huh. They canceled her show for that too.
Yeah, and they canceled her for it, but she was like, she already knew they're going to cancel her, so she doubled him.
Yeah, he actually was the first black entertainer, the first black recurring entertainer, I want to say, at the time period. He was like some kind of dancer or something like that. But yeah, but I mean, when you kind of have the foresight that the Golden Girls would eventually be created, yeah.
Well,
it's not like she lost out.
Well, you know something though. The biggest thing about it is the fact that it's like you get a Betty White, and it's like I think she already knew she was a woman. And she did not belong in their own head. She didn't belong anyway. So there's just this.
Yeah, but she was bringing in ratings, and like you can't deny it. Like you have to. I mean, in what rate? You see, the thing about it is you had some races at the time period, but they were also smart. They weren't gonna like kick nobody out. It has to take an utter fool to be like, this person is making me a lot of money and bringing a lot of ratings, but I don't want him here because he's black. I don't want him here because he's Hispanic.
There was a lot of fools to do it. I mean, you got to remember, you get black kids to go into the swim pools, and then they drain it out, antiseptic. I'm like, imagine how much money they spent doing stupidity like that.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that time period, and even further back, how do you think the Sheens got in the acting business? Martin Sheen's real name is Ramon Estevez. Yes. Yeah. He's Spanish. He's Spanish and Irish. But at the time period, outside of Desi Arnaz, his Hispanic Spaniards, they were looked down upon. So, he looked white, so he went in under Martin Sheen. Charlie Sheen, real name, Carlos Estevez, went in under Charlie Sheen. Emilio was like, nah, I'm not playing that.
Well, Emilio's at a time where you can go in as Estevez.
Yes.
He was at a time. But see, the biggest thing, there was something also about this. It's the fact, I said this today about, there was something I said today about Justin Fields, okay? And this has to do with people. I said, if Justin Fields doesn't figure out this passing thing, he's going to Hollywood. He has swag. That's what I'm saying. I said this to somebody today with the Bears. It's like, I think he's got a, how's your water?
Really good. Sorry, man. Keep going.
No, you're good. But no, I said this. He's going to Hollywood if it doesn't work out in football. He has swagged 6 ways from loose. He dominated the Radio Row. He went all over the place. And I mean, the guy he can speak. He can get everything. That was the thing for them to see. He can get into any of these restaurants and do this. This is that era now. But there were people that says you can't eat here, but you know something? They still had the charisma.
Yeah.
St. Davis Jr. and all of those. You get to that thing, a Louis Armstrong. You can't deny charisma. That's why I said, mind you, you hope that Justin Fields figures out the passing. He was ruined at first by Nagy. You hope he.
Who now has a Super Bowl ring.
There was a guy I've never met anybody least that deserves it in my life. But I'm saying he hurt Trubisky. Trubisky wasn't going to get farther than what he did, but he hurt that. He hurts Fields. But it's like, but the thing is, that's the thing about Fields. Trubisky's going to get into the business world or something, or be a coach or something. That's just what he's going to be.
Fields can see Trubisky being like an OC.
Yeah. Fields is going to be a star. I mean, whether it's not in football, in Hollywood, in anything, you see it. Just the way that he speaks. He's well spoken. He's great around the camera. He's a good looking kid.
Yeah, absolutely he is. But the crazy part about that is what type of roles do you see him really landing? Because Justin Fields he's still got that baby face stage. Like I don't know if he can even grow facial hair yet.
Well, true, superhero, which means superhero the kind of stuff. Or you could see them put another the Fast and Furious, be a bad guy Furious movie.
Well, here's the thing. Also, is long gone are and I guess it depends on the production and who's shooting what. But okay, Superman was babyface, Batman was babyface, all the ones Robin, all the ones we came up with, right?
Yeah.
Now, unless you are remaking one of those films, that's the only thing that's left to slide. Captain America was babyface. But then later on, nowadays, your heroes are starting to have this. Even Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, who's reprising his role in Deadpool 3. But even him, you look at these guys now, they're more realistic. Not sitting here saying babyface is realistic, but
he could do Deadpool. Because Deadpool has such I know where they're going, but he could do Deadpool because they do Deadpool. And it's like, and he's supposed to, and he does ridiculously teenage girl stuff. Which he's got that baby face. He could do that easily. But you got to remember, the biggest thing about it is what I'm saying, though, you could easily put Fields in doing another Fast and Furious type movie, like a remake. You got to remember how many young people were in that first one in the first place 20 years ago.
They better hurry up because Fast X will be out in May, and the next film is the final film in the series, which I think they're already in either pre or post production, one of the two.
Yeah. But either way, but by the way, here's the thing. I'm gonna give you a trivia here. Your favorite bet at the horse tracks wins how many percent of the time?
35%.
Boy, you're pretty good. 30. You ever bet on what horses?
I've never. Okay, so the only time I'd even been within, I guess, 500 feet of a horse track. So in Texas City, Texas, which is about 45 minutes from here, 45 minutes south. It's in between. To give you a better idea, it's in between Houston and Galveston. Yeah. Okay. There is a racetrack out there, a horse racing track, and I distinctly remember it being built. Like, I remember when there was nothing there, and then it was built. But I mean, it was there for some decades, but it fell on like hard business or whatever. They're not racing out there anymore. A couple of my uncles went out there and betted a little bit, but ultimately, they're more we'll bet on football, type deals. Horse bet. I mean, it'd be interesting to get into it and find out how all it works.
I have one bet in my life in a horse bet, and it is the funniest one ever. I put $5 on this one horse, and I just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I pick this one horse. I forget the name. So I'm like watching, And see, I'm at the steeplechase track, which is an odd little deal. So I'm in a certain corner, so you can't see the whole race from the end. So you're waiting to see. So you're missing about a third of the race from the thing. So you see the horses coming around and all that stuff. We get to the final laps of the track, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm looking for my horse. You know, the thing. I'm looking at my ticket, looking at my horse. So here comes across the finish line. Here comes the horses. So I'm like, okay, wow. Where am I? Did I win? You know,
that's crazy.
Around the corner is my horse.
Oh wow! And he's not pulling a flash and trying to catch up. No, everyone's already across the line. So like, yeah.
They're basically at this point in time putting the horses away, and here he comes.
And then here he comes. Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what it was like? It was like Santa's little helper off of Simpsons.
Yeah, pretty much. Or like the old Looney Tunes, and here comes Malicious, and it's this little bitty horse, and when he runs, it looks like wheels, you know. So
oh, I know. It was. I mean, I was just like, that is the last and only time I ever bet. See, I'm a poker player. I'll do that. I'm good at that part. I know. Okay. I'm never gonna be a horse race guy. Never. That was my hit.
Man. But you know what? You actually reminded me of an interesting point, and I always wanted to run this by you real quick. And I feel like this is the perfect time right now. Going back to the who you see going Hollywood and keeping it in the sports realm. I'm gonna run this by you real quick. You let me know what you think, okay?
Sure.
You know who I think is gonna go Hollywood? I would say in the next maybe 2-3 years.
Who?
Roman Reigns.
I'd say a year.
Think about it.
You see
Roman Reigns.
Beard, he's getting older.
Yeah. Well, also at the same time, you got to think about it. He's done everything that there is to do. He's the current undisputed champion. He's been Intercontinental champion. He's been U.S. champion. He's won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You know, tag team champion.
Yeah.
Like he's done everything that there is to be done in WWE. And another thing is he's looking at his cousin and he's seeing how much he pulls in a film. He's looking at his other wrestling brethren, John Cena. He's seeing what he pulls in a film. Now, Reigns already was in a Hobbs and Shaw with The Rock. He already was in that.
Yeah.
He's looking and seeing what they're getting. He wants a piece of the action. He's looking at it and he's like, you know what? You know, pro wrestling is my first love, but I don't want to do this forever. You see what some dudes, because Reigns is like what, late 30s? You see what a lot of guys wrestling past my age, full time in the ring. You see what happens to them. You know what I mean? So I want to get out now while I can, and that also reminds me, Charlotte Flair be made on her way out, also headed to Hollywood. But sticking with,
look at Hulk. I mean, they had to burn his, not cut like Kurt Angle said. They had to burn his nerves so he wouldn't have pain on his back. He walks fine, but I'm like, he can't even climb in the ring anymore.
He can't do it. But yeah, I just wanted to, get your thoughts about Reigns. And I would say that because it's a foregone conclusion, he'll lose the titles at Mania. I think he'll disappear. We won't see him for a year. He'll probably come back for like a one-off match next year. And then that's it. I think he's out in 2 years. He's done.
He's got a perfect Hollywood name, Roman Reigns. Yeah. Perfect Hollywood name. But see, this was the thing. I was thinking of Dolph Ziggler. Good looking dude. You know what I'm saying? Good looking dude, and you give him the name Dolph Ziggler. How could you promote that name in Hollywood? But listen to his real name, Nick the Natural Nemeth.
Yeah.
You look at that name, Nick Nemeth, and you go with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
But no, here's the thing I look at too. Here's the thing I look at with these. It's like, you look at Roman Reigns, how awesome he is as a heel right now, you know?
Yes.
Realize how cheered he gets as a heel now after the succotash crap that he did as a babyface. But here's the thing. Why is it, it's been 40 years. Why is it to this day that the best baby faces, like we'll say Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock, all of them, why is it that every single one of them had to make their own way? Like Hogan was Mr. America, Mr. Hero. He cheated like hell.
Yes, he did.
He scratched, he scraped, he poked your eyes. He did all that kind of. It's like but the fans caught to it because they were doing it to him.
Right.
Heels would do it to him. He did it himself. This is at a time when the baby faces are supposed to, we're gonna do it fair. No,
they're gonna fight clean.
Except Hogan. Life. And that's why it was so easy for him to go Hollywood Hogan, because he was never a fair wrestler to begin with.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's that thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Look what he was. See, then we'll go all the way down to Roman Reigns. And why did John Cena get booed like crazy? Because he tried to do it right. This is the thing with baby faces. I don't know what it is with Vince or the writing teams or whatever. You could make a baby face out of Reigns now.
Yeah.
Keep it where it is. It's like Nick Bockwinkel in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Nick Bockwinkel in the day, and where he had to switch a few words, and he was the same guy.
Right.
I don't know what Vince has to think about, or any of them to think about. Oh, they're good guys, so we got to make them smile. Why?
No. I mean, and you know what? You know who else? You know who else that also happened to? That you just saying? Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Remember when he got kicked out of Evolution and he went babyface for like 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Him smiling, it just didn't resonate with him because Orton already looks like he could be an a-hole. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's actually cool in real life, but he looks like he could be an a-hole. He's this chiseled dude. He's big. He's, you know what I mean? He's got this face like he's a heartthrob to women. Yeah. He was a heartthrob to women at the time period, you know? Yeah. Like they were lining up like the dude was so the dude's looks was so off the meter at the time period. There was remember that rumor that he was gay? Kind of like with Shawn Michaels.
And the shriveled up little pants. He had this Orton pants. They covered like 1 inch of his ass.
Yeah, you know, it was like but it's always like that. Like it happened with Shawn Michaels. Like when Shawn Michaels posed for Playgirl, and everybody was like, "Oh man, is he gay, man? Look at the stuff he be wearing. Like, what's going on?" You know. But when Orton became the Viper, that was it right there. All he had to do was stay the Viper, and then switch courses and have him just attack the right people. He's been the Viper since like 2007.
Viper is dangerous. That's the thing. Viper's dangerous. It's like. And that was the thing. You know who didn't listen to all that thing about the baby faces? Jake Roberts. He never listened. Jake Roberts changed a couple of things, and that was all it. And it's like he never. Here's the thing. He wanted to be heel because they liked being heel. He could have been babyface the rest of his life the same way.
Yeah, that is true.
This is what I got. This is my thing. And I'll give you a theory on something. Okay. Well, here's what before we go on to our next thing. To me, Jesse the Body Ventura wasn't a heel. Like in the booth.
I consider him a heel announcer, but compared to a Lawler or a Heenan or shoot.
Well, Heenan wasn't even later, but the reason I said that, I can't say Lawler. I wish him well as the thing, and he's one of the greatest wrestlers ever, psychology-wise. But in the booth, he can go to good. But no, the reason I say Jesse the Body Ventura wasn't a heel in the thing, or he changed the heel idea in the booth. The reason is because he only went after who he hated. It made it personal, which is Hogan. But that was at a time but everybody else, his main thing was he didn't like baby faces kissing up to fans. But he always gave credit.
True.
If you saw the team, they pinned him, you see these heels go, no, he didn't pin him. Nah. No, that's stupid Lawler crap. No. He'd say, he won.
He won.
Or he'd call out somebody for being hypocritical about how he won, but he'd admit he won. Which is a different way of going heel, which the heel would always lie. Jesse told the truth.
That is true. So if you really think about it, Jesse was less a heel and more an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was an anti-hero, you know. Now, here's the thing with Heenan. I mean, okay, the best heel announcer, I know you're not a fan of him, but the best heel announcer of all time to me is Lawler. But in second place is Heenan, and here's why. You ever notice with Heenan, right? When Heenan was a heel announcer in WCW, there was only one time that he would be a face, and that was when the NWO came out. Because he hated Hogan. This dude will cheer on any heel in the company. But you remember his reaction when Goldberg beat Hogan in the Georgia Dome?
Yeah, thank you. No, Heenan, the thing about Heenan, to me, Heenan is the best, and you can't see his dust in the thing. But here's my problem with Lawler. Lawler is probably the greatest psychological wrestler of all time.
Of course.
I mean, I think for a guy his size and everything, and he made it look like in Memphis he was the biggest badass on earth, and the guy probably couldn't fight his way out of wet paper bag, but he made a whole city believe it.
He did.
And psychologically, he's amazing. Maybe he would have been better in WCW when they leave you alone. You know, I mean, maybe they would have been, because to me, Heenan was amazing. A lot of people aren't going to agree with me. Heenan was amazing in WCW. And he was amazing in WCW. The reason I say he was amazing in WCW, here's the reason. It's because he didn't like them. He didn't like them kissing babies. He didn't like all this type of stuff. But you'd hear it all the time, like especially during the Goldberg deal. Oh my God, he could take him tonight. And this guy's a tough guy. Bobby Heenan, this is what I've always going to say about him. He always announced like he was a perfect wrestler away from getting out of retirement.
Yeah.
He'd be looking at, this is what I would do. This is what all this. Someday maybe will. Well, I got some others. I got about a month or two work, but I will get you. But it's like, I'll get you, man. But no, the thing is, he would go like as such. He'll go as such where he is a step away. He's a manager, acted like a manager. He's a step away. Goldberg would have been the closest that he would to try to turn him heel and manage him. He'd have instant money.
Because Goldberg hated being a heel. But he was even down for it.
But that was the thing about, you're right. But I'm just saying though that Heenan's character.
Yeah.
The closest Heenan's character would have come to get him out of retirement is Goldberg and turn him heel and get everything, knowing that the guy can just decimate everyone and he'd have
and everybody. Exactly.
Yeah, now he can get his easy money. He doesn't even have to take a bump. He doesn't have to do anything. And it's right there. He knows he's got a guy that he can decimate. He can decimate everyone. And
I mean,
go ahead.
I've got now. I guess I know you're not a fan of Lawler. He's my best heel announcer of all time. Heenan is second. Now, as far as heel managers, Heenan's my favorite of all time.
I mean, no,
he's my favorite. If it came down to Heenan or Heyman, I'm going Heenan.
Well, but here's the thing. I'll compare Heenan and Heyman in a minute. Here's the issue, though. My problem with Lawler is probably Vince. Because whether he was a heel or babyface, woohoo, 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 puppies, 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 woohoo, yay, he wins.
Can you really blame him then?
Or Hulkamania's running wild, woohoo, it was just a bunch of 7 and 12-year-old crap from him over and over. He never told any real psychology. It was just, he was like a child. It's like,
you know what? Now that I think of guys put it like that, yeah.
Jim Ross is the adult. And it's like, and the Jim Ross is the adult parent who's just annoyed with this crap over and over, knowing that Jerry Lawler would know everything about psychology, just like Bobby Heenan would.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I see where you're coming from as far as why you have Heenan over Lawler, is because Lawler did his antics that was like you said, the puppies and all of them, right? But Heenan actually did a good job of selling the heel guy in the ring. This guy's from here. He can do this, and I got him. He's going to be the next such and such. But he did such an excellent job at selling the heel character in the ring. Now, Lawler did that too. Don't take that away from him. Lawler did that too.
Yeah, but he was a child with it. But as far as Heenan and Heyman, do you want to know what the difference between Heenan and Heyman are? Heenan is he's gone now, obviously. But here's what Heenan is, the character Heenan. Bobby Heenan is a small time. You got to remember, he celebrated so much about Ric Flair because Ric Flair was his guy. He finally got the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah.
Finally, after remember he had WWF. I mean, remember he had an AWA for a long time. But he was his character was the small time con artist who kept picking up all these losers.
Yes.
He finally gets these like the Heenan family. He finally gets a Rick Rude. He finally gets these monsters that could get him. And who stops them every time? Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. That's why he always held a disdain for him.
And he's a small time con artist who hits it big but can't get there yet. But guess who gets him? Rick gets him that title. But you know what Heyman is? He's the big time con artist. You remember Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
You remember when he goes into the bank, a little bit quietly, and takes all that money under an assumed name that was actually the Wardens?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Heyman does.
Okay.
That's what Heyman does. He's a slick talking lawyer, but that's what he does. He's a con artist. He can go into that bank. He probably has 50 the banks. He probably has like millions of dollars into things under assumed names, and he just pulls all the money.
Yeah, that, and also because he cut his teeth in Philadelphia with ECW. Yeah. Because he's a native New Yorker, he kind of carries a mafia vibe with him.
Yeah.
Without having an actual mob, he kind of carries a mafia vibe with him. I think Heenan was gutsy enough to go and attack people.
Yeah.
Now I know he finally got Rick, but hang on a second, because he at one point he managed the Brain Busters, hence after his was it Arn and he did, and they won the tag titles. He did manage the Brain Busters, so it's not like he had slouches.
No, but that was the thing. To me, the way the character was, like at first they built it perfectly. Heenan he went in, he got Big John Studd because he was supposed to get Jesse Ventura. He gets Big John Studd, but then he gets the missing link and he gets a few other losers. And then they build him up to these names, and he keeps getting it. The only thing is he's making his money, but everything is keeping him from making the biggest is Hulk. And it's the only of his, and it's all that. And then he finally gets it with Rick, but at the time he gets it, his neck is gone. But the biggest thing though, like say to me, Heenan's the small time that went big, but he couldn't keep it long enough. And Heyman's always always a big time con artist. He's like a mob thing, like you said.
Right, he is. Heenan. Now Heenan's nickname was the Weasel. And you know what? I was reading an interesting article the other day, and it goes from like WrestleMania 1 to like WrestleMania, I think 37 or something like that. Yeah. But it tells you what the main event was for a particular WrestleMania and what the main event should have been. So, for example, I'll give an example. You're going to love this one because the WWF dropped the ball on this one. So, WrestleMania, I think it was WrestleMania 8. WrestleMania 8. Hulk Hogan faced Sid Justice.
Yep.
The main event should have been Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. They dropped the ball on having Hogan versus Flair.
Yep, absolutely should have been. And see, do you want to know something? What Vince has made billions of dollars, and he's also burned billions of dollars inside of a barrel for some of his decisions. He gets scared. It's like he gets scared. It's like all these years of his thought process of what a babyface should have been, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin that just told him to get off because he was making billions of dollars off the day. But it's like, and it should have been, Hulk Hogan should have been his the awakening, because Hulk was cheating like mad all the time. The fans were still cheering. That should have been. But it's like he's burned so much with the idea that he thinks that you need to. Mind you, you can still be red, white, and blue and cheat. This is just the truth. I mean, this is the thing. But it's like there was a lot of things they could have done. Like, for instance, what if you had, like, remember when John Cena came in on a helicopter? What if you had Hulk come in on a helicopter?
He's ridden on motorcycles and like Ferraris and all that before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. But like, what if you had Hulk coming out of a helicopter with the American flag? Could you imagine the crowd on top of that damn thing?
Oh man, yeah, that would be awesome. That would be great. I will say this much though about Hulk Hogan is his heel turn when they formed NWO. Vince could not have pulled that off. Vince could not have pulled that off in his wildest dreams. And the man was a genius, but I don't think he could have pulled off what Eric Bischoff did.
Well, the thing about Hulk, the thing about it, but he did it, but he didn't see it. This is why I say you burn a lot of money. Hulk was always a heel. People just loved him. People just loved him. Remember, I've told you the thing with Justin Fields earlier. As I said, even if he doesn't make it in the NFL, he could make it in the NFL. Don't get that wrong, regardless of where it is. But even if he doesn't, to me, there's that Hollywood, just that look, that swag. Hulk had the swag for the day. He wasn't even that good looking, but just that body and that image and that charisma and all that.
He was larger than life.
There are people that just have it.
Yeah.
There are just, I guess, who else has it? Joe Burrow.
Yep. And here's what Hulk Hogan had working for him also. Now, Hulk Hogan, at the time period, was 6'5", like 303 pounds, right? Bodybuilder.
6'6".
You know? Yeah. You know? Now, here's the deal. He's larger than life to children and even most adults.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the biggest guy in the company in size. He still had an underdog factor. He wasn't the size of Earthquake. He wasn't the size of Andre. He wasn't the size of Tugboat. He wasn't the size of Abdullah the Butcher. None of them dudes. You know, he wasn't the biggest guy. Yeah, you know.
And that was the thing. And see, everybody complained about him not going to Brett. And it was like, you watch that match with Shawn, there's no way he could have had a Brett match. Because you watch that match with Shawn, even though Shawn was joking around with it, Shawn still did everything to make Hulk look good.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, even in the midst of it all, he did Hulk's match, even if he was mocking it. He did every bit of that. Bret Hart's match, I mean, Kevin Nash said it himself, is in like, it was always 20 minutes, except for like TV. But it was always 20 minutes. He always had 5 minutes, the babyface takes it, 5 minutes to heel, 5 minutes they go back and forth, and 5 minutes to finish.
Huh.
Yeah, 20-minute deals. You're not going to put Hulk like that.
No.
You're not going to do Hulk like that. It's like there's about 2 or 3 specific matches. There's a thing, and it's like Shawn worked his match.
He did. Yeah, and you know what? You're right. There could never have been, as much as it would have been a dream match back then, and essentially a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
There couldn't have been a Hogan. Hogan was not that Hogan. He was not hanging with Bret in the ring. He wasn't.
No,
he wasn't hanging with Bret in the ring.
To hang with Shawn in the ring, Shawn had to work his match. And Shawn worked. I mean, remember how Hogan, remember that match? Hogan, he climbed Hogan to bam, 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 bam to cut him open.
Yeah.
Like a giant that you have to just keep knocking down.
Keep pounding. Yes, exactly. You know.
I mean, that wasn't a Bret match.
No, it was not.
Bret lifted Kevin Nash in a backbreaker. So I'm.
Bret, dude, let me tell you something. Bret was a lot stronger than folks gave him credit for.
Yeah,
he was a lot stronger but see, that's the thing. You're expecting like, okay, like I get it. John Cena, he FU'd Big Show or whatever. Bret was 6'1", 235 and considered a small wrestler.
And that's a big man. And
and Nash here he is about 7'1", 320 pounds, and he's picking him up. Bret was stronger than people give him credit for. It's just power was not his game.
Well,
technicality and technique, that was his game. His power wasn't just like Kurt Angle, right? Kurt Angle's lifted the biggest dudes, but power is not his game.
Well, I'll tell you, power was plenty his game with when he was throwing people around like that, including Big Show. But But the biggest thing I look at, by itself is the fact that I give credit to the Clique for changing it all. Because I don't like. See, I'll give you this. Do you know why I liked Hogan as a kid? It was a combination. I liked good guys. Don't get me wrong, okay? So I'll admit that. But there was a combination of why I liked Hulk. He was the good guy of the American hero, all that. But I liked it that he got dirty. It was such a weird thing. It's like the same. I liked Flair a little bit. I liked Magnum a little bit. Magnum got dirty too. Magnum TA.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
liked it because I was always taught in my life, if someone, don't even start a fight, but if someone hits you, get them. You know, I was always taught that. And it's like, I like the idea of a baby face that's going to get dirty and fight their
That's
fight.
true.
I hated
Yeah.
when I hated Tito Santana. I hated Steamboat. I liked their matches, but I hated them when I was a kid because it's like you would see them get absolutely obliterated by a heel with like an axe handle, and they'd get everything. And here they come into the next match, and they'll put them over in our bars.
Yeah.
And it's like
that was just crazy. That was.
You want to?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You want to know who should? This is the funniest thing. You're gonna find this thing. You know who shouldn't have sold?
Oh.
Who shouldn't have sold as much because his mind was so scary. Jake Roberts.
True.
Like, here's the thing. He's not muscular. He's 6'5" and he's kind of skinny fat. But here's the thing. That should have been a situation where people are unless it's like a Kamala or something and you have to knock him down. Why he should be getting in everybody's head where he's dominating the match until he makes a mistake.
True. That's true.
Then it's like, because the whole point is he's getting in your head. And it's like, it should, that Ric Flair, that Jake Roberts and Rick Rude match should have been, the thing should have been so much better. It should have been so much better. It's like, why would you mess with a guy? Why would you mess with a guy's wife who's that dangerous? But the WWF never had an understanding about how to make him dangerous.
Yeah, and the guy played with snakes. It's like, dude, it's right there on the table, you know. Like, and I remember that as a kid too. I was like, you know what? This is the most a-holest thing you could do is mess with the guy's wife and then airbrush her face on your tights. Like, I was like, wow, Rick Rude is just.
But he'd get 30 seconds to start, and then he would sell for 10 minutes, and it's like the guy that plays with snakes should be more dangerous than that.
He should be. Now, I will also say they made a mistake not making Rude world champion. He should have been WWE champion. He had everything. He had everything to be a heel champion. He had everything. He was an ass to people. He had the looks. He let you know I look better than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm just all out better than you. But there was something I was going to say before we go to, I guess, a few more trivia topics here. And it was back with Hulk Hogan. This is another thing. People love connecting that with real life stuff. So you talk about Hogan in the 80s and the early 90s, right? What was going on in the 80s at that time period? The Cold War, United States and Russia, right?
Yeah.
You have to have somebody, a representative that's larger than life in America. No one was more 80s or American than Hulk Hogan. Then you switch it over, and this goes twofold. Switch it over to the Gulf War, 1991. And especially when you put him in a storyline with an Iraqi sympathizer who happens to be the WWF champion. You got larger than life.
Hulk. The biggest thing about Hulk right now is the sad part is you can never use him anymore. And that's a sad part because with the divide that we have in the world, you got to remember he had 3 different eras of his life, 3 different that he could, in the world, like within, like in Hollywood and everything. And he had like 3 different times. And you could have used him now to play American Hero and try it again. I mean, the guy can still cut a promo and said everything, but he's got the racist thing on his back for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's true. And then not only that, but what else are you going to put him in? Maybe the Expendables Part 4?
I wish, but I don't think he is. But the thing is, though, you can't use him anymore, and that's the sad part because right now you need somebody to live. But the thing is, it's a different world now. It's not just flying the flag. You got to tell the world. This is what I would do. You got to tell the world that flag is for everyone, whether they agree with it or not. It's supposed to be for everyone. Yeah, and you've got to. That's how you got to live it. It's like it's not just fly the flag. That's it. It's there's many questions. So you got to make a thing, and I would do this. It's like this flag is it's supposed to be for everyone.
Right.
And by the way, I'm going to give you a trivia real quick. Got a couple more before we go.
Okay.
How many before 1900? How many rounds would a prize fight last?
Before 1900?
Yeah.
20?
100.
Woo! I was way off that one.
Pick it to that, knowing that somebody
because they know someone's will pretty much die by then.
Or you just see both of them are like Rocky and Apollo. But this is the thing, though. This tells you how great athletes are now. You have 100 rounds. These are tough guys back in that day. You try 100 rounds now in this day and age, someone's dying.
Yeah, it will.
Did not punch the same way then.
People probably died back then,
Yeah. But that's the whole thing, though. It's like that's the thing. It just shows they weren't the same athlete.
Did it? Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't they weren't the same athlete, and those are the things. Like if you can go 100 rounds, it means you're a tough guy. It means they had their own thing, but that was the issue. And oh, by the way, one more, and then we got to go. I got to just say this.
All right.
Jesse Owens once broke 4 world records in under 45 minutes.
I believe it, but 4?
Did you?
I mean,
go ahead.
Is it fair to say? Is it fair to say that at one point in time, out of Olympics, track and field, baseball, football, basketball, so is it fair to say that at one point in time, Jesse Owens was the greatest, was the best athlete in the world overall, if not the United States?
Well, yeah, you could say that. And it's like the biggest thing about it is, could you imagine Jesse Owens now with all this technology, with all of this knowledge? I mean, it's like you're literally looking at Usain Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, guys are faster now. Don't get me wrong, but even a Jesse Owens, like if we kind of like time shifted, Owens probably prime Owens will probably hang with a lot of guys now.
Well, here's the thing about athleticism, and then we got to move. We got to bust. But let me say this about athleticism, man. Athleticism, back in that time, if you were 40, 45, all that stuff, you were at the end of your rope, and you were going to die at 55. And all that kind of stuff. Maybe you fought because you were already a fighter since you were 8. But people now, you could train with the best trainers. You got the money. Say that you got the money. You better train with the best trainers. And get yourself ready for something. Even if you're not going to be a pro, you can get ready for it. Because all the trainers have all the ability now to train anyone. And guess what? Women are some of the best athletes in the world.
Yep. And
it's like, mind you, but that just shows when they can't stand up to the trained man, it just shows it's biology. That doesn't mean the woman's not a badass. The woman's going to beat an untrained man and kick the crap out of him. It's just the skeleton side. It's just the everything like that. That doesn't mean the woman isn't a badass. It's just biology, how it's built.
It is.
But that doesn't mean a thing. But I want to tell you, thank you for this tonight. This was a fun deal.
Yes, it was. And we definitely have to do another all wrestling episode, but with actually layered out topic
things. And we're going to have you on Yin and Yang.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll talk to her. We'll get an idea because I think we all had a good chemistry of this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely get with her and let me know, and then run down you can run down the list of topics. Also, Pundit this Wednesday.
Pundit Wednesday. We have some big ones, and yes, we will do yours. I'll replace one.
Did you look up who I was talking about?
Yep.
I know you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about that, and we'll get to that idea, and I'll replace one. We'll figure one.
All right, awesome. Hey, thanks a lot for having me on, man.
For Jacob Christner, Denzel Snipes, that'd be the second part. This was Punditviews for the night. Have a good night.